Character traits, I don't know.
She's been on phenomenal form all year.
It's her boy, she's brought her dog. I'm not sure if I can show you the dog.
Oh gosh, I think it was.
He is the most incredible horse.
Yes, what do you mean? That's why you're here. Wow. Good job.
Welcome to the final Luhmülhen Lates of 2023. Well, we've had the cool concentration of the dressage, the exhilarating excitement of the cross country, and after a nail-biting final show jumping phase, we have a winner of the 5-star, and it is Laura Collett on London 52. It was a British 1-2-3, Laura finishing just ahead of Kitty King and Yasmin Ingham, and she led from start to finish. Let's hear what she had to say after her win.
Laura, wow, how incredible. You had all, bless you, you had all that time in hand. You didn't need it. You just nailed it. How are you feeling?
Oh, I can't believe it. That horse, he's just incredible. He just jumped so well. He just seems to know. He loves the atmosphere and he just tries his little socks off for me. And what a horse.
He looked a bit feisty early on in that round. Did you feel that?
Yeah, really feisty. He was like, just leave me alone and let me just do my job. And oh God, yeah, he's a phenomenal horse.
Knowing that you had all the time in hand, obviously you had one fence and 6 seconds, didn't you, in hand? So did you aim to just go as slow as you could, or did you try and keep it the same, or how did you ride it?
No, I just, I didn't want to take a risk of, if I had a rail and being slow and trying to be safe. So, look, he jumps better out of that bigger rhythm and bigger canter, and he was so strong and so keen to keep going. So I didn't want to break the rhythm, and he was insane.
What more for this horse? Olympic medals, badminton titles, Luhmülhen titles. What else is there for you?
Well, hopefully a European Championship at the end of the year.
Best of luck. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Laura.
Well, while Laura is in doping control, apparently maybe taking several hours to have a wee, I have the lovely owners of London 52, Karen Bartlett and Keith Scott. Well, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, I have a pony, but I can't imagine she'll ever go anywhere and win anything really great. What does it feel like to be the owner of a horse as good as London 52, winning competitions like Luhmülhen?
You even saying that is making the hairs on my arms stand up. It's so exciting.
Keith?
Well, I mean, we put so much energy into the sport. Karen's been doing it longer than I have, but I've been doing it for many, many years now. And sport is my great passion. And I competed in sport myself when I was younger, and now at my age, the only way I can compete is through Laura and the horse. And to have a horse like him and to go to the places that we've been to, they're life memories that you will never ever forget, ever forget.
I mean, obviously you've the Olympics,
Yeah.
badminton,
Yeah.
now Luhmülhen.
We were very lucky that Keith and I went out to the Olympics with Laura. And I mean, Keith and I only know one another because we own London 52 together. So 7 years ago, Laura brought us together. And now we're sort of firm friends
It's a
and
good job to
travel
get
the
on,
world.
isn't it? Imagine, did you kind of vet the two of you together first? I mean, what happens if you didn't get on?
Well, for me, the journey started when I owned Mr. Bass with Laura, and I'd come back to eventing, having left it a while before, and I'd never been to one event called Le Lion d'Angers, and with young horses. And one day I happened to be with Yogi Breisner down at Laura's, and I ended up seeing a horse called Mr. Bass, and I always wanted to go to Le Lion just to compete. And we ended up going there, and he won, and it was because of that I said, "Oh, we've got to go and find another one," and that's how it all came about for us.
And of course, Mr. Bass nearly won Luhmülhen a few years ago.
He did. Yeah, I'm glad that Dan has come and made up for that. Yeah, yeah, he was second, so he obviously he's.
Yeah. And Mr. Bass's name was Chuck from Gossip Girl, and so Dan is Dan from Gossip Girl.
Now, what about his proper name, London 52? Where did that come from? Was that you guys?
No, he came from Germany. I got a call from Germany from Laura She was with Keith looking for horses and said, I found this horse, I can't afford it on my own. I'm asking Keith and you to come in. It's called London. I'm like, are you mad? Horse from Germany called London. But yeah.
And what did you see in it?
We have theories about why he's been 52. You know, whether the breeder or owner after that was in London in 1952, conceived their firstborn in 1952 in London. I don't know.
You've looked at the bus route.
I've looked at the bus route.
The number 52 bus route.
Yeah, it goes past Harrods, so we thought that was okay.
But when you saw London 52 with Laura in Germany, I mean, I know obviously she's like the one that's looking at the actual horse, but did you see anything in him that made you think he'd be a future champion?
I think it helps if you've had a good one, to recognise a good one, and he was a nice specimen. His conformation was good. He had good movement. He jumped well. We were able to see some film of him doing some cross country. Laura obviously jumped him. He was scopy. So he had all the raw materials. But the one thing that I've learnt so much about in the last 7 years of having him is how he's been able to improve in every aspect of what he does because of his mind. He's so giving, so wanting to work with the rider. It's extraordinary to think that a horse can do that and move from where they were age 7 to where they are now. It's absolutely extraordinary.
I mean, so unusual for a horse to be so good in the dressage, where it's so contained, to then go and gallop like he did yesterday.
But frankly, it's so unusual to have a rider who's so good in the dressage and they can go and gallop and do as well as she did, and then go in there today. Okay, she had a fence in hand and some time in hand, but she still went in there and went clear without any time faults. And she's a true pro.
It's for me, it's always more difficult going in the lead. Even if you've got a fence in hand, the pressure is extraordinary, and time after time she's delivered under that pressure.
Yeah, she really has.
Yeah, I mean, looking at all sports as I do, I struggle to find people that continuously perform under pressure like her. Yeah.
What would you say, Karen, to someone watching this who was considering getting into owning an event horse? What would you say to them? Tell the camera.
That it's an amazing sport. It's really nice to do it with friends. Both Keith and I have owned individually previously, but we've actually have said to one another, it's been better fun having owners together. So yeah, if you can afford it, go for it.
Good advice. If you can afford it, go for it. Thank you very much, Karen Bartlett and Keith Scott. Thank you. Congratulations. Well, if there was going to be a horse of the day, it would surely be London 52. But now it's time for our dog of the day.
Hey everybody, my name is Dorothy from Pets Deli, and today we're gonna choose the dog of the day. And today it's
Africa. Africa is Brittany Spaniel, 11 years old. Yes.
She's very cuddly, and for that you get a present bag from Pets Deli today. So there you go. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Wow! Oh, nice!
Oh, the lovely Breton Spaniel Africa. Now, from dog of the day to ride of the day, Spencer joins me with Harry Mead, and Harry doesn't know that he's getting this, but I've given it away. Harry, you are our ride of the day. Spencer, you chose it. Explain to us why.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to do it yesterday. Just the most amazing cross-country round. I spoke to you earlier about Tenerez's cross-country round, and you said, you know, he's just improved and got more and more confident. And watching you come to the first show jump, I mean, you can talk us through it. We're going to have a look at it as well, look at your round. But coming to the first show, you had a little bit of a spook, didn't he, going to the first as well? But in the meantime, just before we do, you get a nice bottle of rosé and a rose.
Oh,
and also from Dubarry you get some alpaca socks. You can change them if you want. I mean, Rosie might have those instead, but they're from Dubarry, so we'll put those back in there and we'll have a look at your round. But I mean, he is amazing. You finished 5th overall, and the first clear round, the hairs on my arms and the back of my neck were on end. It was incredible.
Oh, he was wonderful. I mean, you obviously always, arrive at a big event, with the aim to be competitive. But I think this week he really sort of outperformed our expectations for him. And as I said, all week the only thing he probably did was he had a little balk just coming towards the first fence just there. You saw that. But otherwise, he was foot perfect all week, really.
And you say he's outshone your expectations. He is such a talented horse. You've taken a little bit of time with him, haven't you, to give him the time to grow and come into himself? Would have been very easy just to go too quickly, wouldn't it?
Well, he's a horse who is very careful. He wouldn't have been the bravest, and it took a bit of restoration of confidence, probably through the levels, for him to. It's been a long project to get him to be thriving and happy at the top level, and the journey has really culminated in this week's performance. So it's not all these horses. It's not really about the few days leading up to it or the few months leading up to it.
Yeah.
It's been years of giving him confidence, and I hunted him, my team chased him, I ran him around point to point, upside 6 horses the day after, point to point alongside race horses, just to get him confident and jumping and thinking for himself. And yesterday's cross country round really felt sublime and something that I probably, rewinding a few years ago, wouldn't have expected would ever be the case with him at 5-star.
That's fascinating, though, that you actually did stuff like that. I mean, you're having to really think outside the box, or maybe not. I know obviously you're a great hunting man and you love the jumping and the cross country, but to go right back to doing stuff like that, is that kind of a normal thing to do?
No, it's all about what each individual horse needs, and for me, I felt that he wasn't going to make it to this level unless I gave him every opportunity, and that involved everything I just mentioned, and it's bit by bit, and I took him right back to basics and moved him up through the levels again, and he was wonderful, and he was obviously hugely successful as a young horse with young horse classes, but for horses to be really independent thinkers and responsible for themselves when they go cross country and have that in-depth confidence. Some of them are born as natural tigers, and those that aren't, you have to try and nurture that as much as you can. And I always say, for every bad experience a horse gets, and needs 500 good experiences to override that.
But it proves never to give up, and it proves that every horse can be trained to be good.
Yeah, and his campaign this year has been, I've run him pretty frequently, and he's running a lot of. He's basically, I think I did 1 4-star short at the start of the season back in this early spring, and then he's just run consistently at intermediates. It's all just been about putting a smile on his face and keeping that smile there the whole time, from the first fence to the last fence, and repeating and repeating and repeating, and for him to be really enjoying it, and then aiming to do the same thing as I set out on the cross country yesterday, and sort of hope that he didn't really notice we were at a 5-star until after he'd finished he'd crossed the finishing line, which he hopefully still didn't notice.
I'll let you speak next. I was just going to say, if he was a person, be like, no, I've got a bone to pick with you, Harry. No one told me that was coming up.
And what's next for him? Because he is exciting. I mean, it's a big year with the Europeans coming up, and we keep our fingers crossed for you. But there's a huge. We've talked about it before. There's a huge amount of riders to choose from. There's a great strength and depth in the British team now. But what's next for Tenerez?
I mean, obviously the first thing he'll do is go home, have a holiday, a few weeks in the field, and chill out, mentally, physically, and assuming all is well, and hopefully it is, because he trotted up really well this morning and feels great. We'll build a plan. It'll be to go to another 5-star in the autumn. I tend not to sort of really think about what their plans might be until we just make sure they're all right. But I think it's been a big moment for him this week, and we can take stock, enjoy that, and then look forward to the next plan.
Well, it has been fantastic, and we wanted to do it yesterday, but finally, and jumping that clear round in the show jumping, just watching him here, he just looks so happy in there. You've done a brilliant job with him, Harry, and I'm sure the whole team behind you are to thank as well. And I know you've got a lot of sponsors that have been watching alongside, and it's just been brilliant.
Well, I mean, the team is a huge part of it, and Nigella Hall, his owner, has been sort of wonderfully she sort of put her faith in doing the right thing for the horse and seeing the bigger picture and being patient, and it's paid off, and I'm delighted for her. She's had horses for a very long time, and thrilled for her to have a good result at a 5-star. And Jess Errington, my wonderful head groom, who has been with me for 16 years, she adores this horse. I mean, she adores all the horses, and she does the most amazing job. But for her, there's always a real shot in the arm when someone has believed in the horse, and she really has believed in him from the start. And without her, he probably wouldn't have ever got to this level.
Well, so exciting. And finally, on the last day, Lizzie, we have Harry as our rider of the day.
And
congratulations.
Rosie's looking like she just came out. She came out to watch her around on this TV, but she got in the shot. Rosie, you're doing a great job of looking after Harry as well. 5th, not a win, but it is a win, sort of a win. Well done. You are our ride of the day, our rider of the ride of the day.
Yeah.
It gets more awkward.
I'm your rider of the day, thank you.
It gets more awkward every time I say it.
It does, yeah. Well, it didn't until then, but yeah, well done.
Harry Mead, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Harry.
Now, Harry's almost a legend. He's not quite a legend yet, but we have a series here called the Luhmülhen Legends. We've had Mark Phillips, we've had Andreas Dubowski, we've had Pippa Funnell. Today's Luhmülhen legend is Mary King. On this show, we have this section called Luhmülhen Legends.
Right.
Now, I got the book out because obviously you've won pretty much everything in the world to win, but you haven't won Luhmülhen, so you're not necessarily a Luhmülhen legend, but you are a legend here at Luhmülhen. So
Thank you.
But how many times did you come here, and what are your memories of competing at Luhmülhen?
I would have ridden here, I was trying to remember, but I think it's 4 or 5 times I've ridden here. I've ridden in the 5-star, well, it used to be long, as in the long format in the olden days, which now obviously it's much shorter, but they still call it a long. And then also we have ridden in the 4-star as well, so yeah.
But it's quite a special place. I mean, the whole way through the week, I'm talking to people who've got memories of the parties here. And I remember Mark Todd telling me him and Blythe Tate buried some vodka under the arena or something. I mean, did you enjoy your time at Luhmülhen?
Yes, I've had some really good parties. I remember dancing the night away in the past on the Saturday night party. Bit of maybe scaling of the old marquee posts and that sort of thing. But yeah, there always have been, in a way for a rider, it's quite although it's a top level event, it's quite relaxed compared to, like in England, we have badminton and Burghley, our major events that are so hectic as far as, if you're not riding your horse, you're doing work for your sponsors, it's all just so full on. Whereas you come out to Luhmülhen, although it's a top level competition, you haven't got the sort of pressure of having to cope with all your sponsors and things as well, which makes it much more, in a way, sort of relaxed and enjoyable.
And this time you're here supporting Emily.
Yes.
Now, we're recording this. This is going to go out after Emily's competed in the show jumping, but she had a little issue yesterday in the cross country, so she's not going to win this one, is she? But what's it like being here supporting her?
Yeah, it's lovely to come out. It's her first time here at Luhmülhen. She's been here to support me a number of times, so I think it was really exciting for her to come here and take part. Yeah, she had a really unfortunate blip across country yesterday. Dear Valmy Beat, he's a great cross-country horse. He's never ever veered off his line, ever. This literally yesterday was the first time, but I think he didn't really, he did run out, but it was more that Emily was a little bit getting in his way, trying to steady him, getting the right stride pattern, maybe trying a bit too hard, and he didn't focus on the fence that was ahead of him, and he was suddenly there, and I think he really wondered whether he was meant to be jumping it or not.
So do you say that to her afterwards, Mary?
No, she's well, yeah, a bit tactful as a mother, but no, let her give her reasons, and I totally agreed. I mean, she came up with, oh, Mummy, I wrote that badly, poor Valmy, I didn't give him a chance to see the fence, I should have, anyway, you sort of think of all these things afterwards, but never mind, it's, he had well, you know, not that I'm biased, well I am, but I thought she had one of the best rounds of all the riders yesterday around the rest of the course, and it was purely that one little blip.
I heard someone, I'm always down at the finish line and there's a monitor and a lot of people stand, a lot of the owners and the connection stand around watching the monitor that I'm watching, and there were a lot of people were saying she rides like her mum, hasn't she done a beautiful job of that round?
Oh, I think she rides better than me now. Well, she's so tidy and soft, and no, I'm really, really proud of the way she's matured. Yeah, no, feel very fortunate.
Back to you, as you are a legend here at Luhmülhen. 6 Olympics, countless team medals and you know, accolades over your career. Are you in any way able to focus in on any particularly special moment in your riding career?
Well, yes, I mean, the Olympics obviously was so special, and how lucky was I to do 6 consecutive Olympics. You know, you're so reliant on your dear horses that you have in your yards and known as sponsors, and just for, you know, horses to come right, to have a horse at the top level in that Olympic year. You know, there's a lot of luck as well as obviously, you know, making it happen, but no, very, very fortunate. But I still think at the end of the day, it's those wins at badminton horse trials that are, for me, the top. Even as a child growing up, after my first trip to badminton on the Pony Club coach trip and being totally in awe of the event, from then on, as a young person, badminton was the thing to aim for in my life. I wanted to ride at badminton. So then, years later, to actually win it, and then to win it a second time. Yeah.
Which one of the 2?
I suppose the first win was so special, having, you know, actually done it, you know, got to that level and dreamed the dream. But then the second time, you know, my life was different. I was married, I had children. People sort of said, oh, once you have children, you won't be any good at it. And I was, so that was good.
Well, you were very much a trailblazer there. I mean, you were pregnant, was it the European, no, where were you? You were pregnant at some competition.
Yes, at the Europeans in Pretoni in '95. I was quite pregnant there, but didn't tell anyone except my husband and my mum and my groom. But anyway, that luckily all went smoothly, and yes, and then carried on. Luckily, I think because I had such good horses at the time, once I had Emily, you know, I just couldn't wait to get back on board, you know, Star Appeal and King Solomon and these top horses I had.
Now, you mentioned the King prefix. Of course, you're known as well for your breeding. I mean, King's Temptress, you won an awful lot on that horse. Are you still breeding? And are you still, I mean, how, I guess, would the perfect thing be to breed a big winner for Emily to ride?
Yes, absolutely. That would be the dream, but, you know, breeding, you never quite know what you're going to get. But I've been lucky, you know, with the ones I have bred. Only bred one 5-star winner, King's Temptress, but I've had 4 horses I've bred have got to 5-star level, so you know that's not bad really, because with all the things that can go wrong, or that, you know, you breed, the breeding of a young horse is very fantastic, the mother father, but it's not necessary you're going to get a wonderful offspring. So yeah, so no, it'd be lovely in the future. We've just had a foal at home last week, and we're getting a mare flushed tomorrow, who's we're going to do an embryo transfer with, and that's all related to King's Temptress. So yeah, the line is going on.
Have you got the name sorted for the foal?
Well, we're not sure. It's a filly, and I don't know if she's chestnut at the minute, but she has got white flecks on her face, so she could go grey. So a little bit waiting in a way to see what colour she's going to be. We'll know in the next couple of months, but yeah, it'll be King's something, maybe King's Silver or something, if it's a girl, if it's grey, if it's chestnut, I don't know, King's Gold, something, I don't know, we haven't planned it.
So you were a trailblazer really with being a seriously top pro mum eventer. Trailblazer also really, I would say, with the whole commercial side of eventing. I mean, you were one of the first to really grab hold of the commercial opportunities in the sport.
Yeah, I was always so reliant on sponsors and owners because I didn't have much money at the start. You know, my parents weren't wealthy people, and it became very much I had to focus on making money to make it all work. I didn't have sort of financial backing from my parents, as much as they were very supportive. They just didn't have the money to be able to do it. So it's made me always very, I suppose, astute at making sure that everything worked financially. So I worked with many sponsors over the years, and they've still sticking with me, a number of them. You know, it's amazing. Formed great relationships with different companies, and that's how, you know, it was a way for me to continue my career.
But they're sticking with you, Mary, because you were always excellent at delivering what they need. Just moving on, we know you're still in the saddle, but you've switched saddles recently, haven't you? Tell us about this epic journey from John O'Groats to Land's End.
Yes, I think having not competing now at the top level, and for so many years of my life, having such excitement, you know, and great events to aim for, Olympics, World Championships, that when I stopped doing that, I still had this urge to challenge myself. And so I've noticed, you know, each year I've done something to really push myself. For example, you know, ran in the London Marathon 2 years ago, and you know, I wasn't a runner, but I trained and I did it, and so ticked that off the list. And anyway, this recent journey came about. A friend did John O'Groats to Land's End solo on her bike, and about 3 years ago. And when she did it, I thought, oh, now that sounds appealing, something I'd love to do, and then put it on the back burner. But then my sister-in-law, sadly, my brother's wife, died of early onset dementia a couple of months ago, and her road bike was sitting in our garage, and I thought, right, you know, this is an opportunity. There's a good bike here. I can get it sorted. I can then do the John O'Groats to Land's End in memory of Julia, and try and raise funds for our local dementia charity in Sidmouth in Devon. And so I did it, just got it organised and did it. Well, I was so unorganised, really. I sort of vaguely knew my route, but I didn't plan anywhere I was staying. I had a tent on the back of my bike, so in Scotland you've got the right to roam, so you can just camp anywhere. And I just had the most wonderful time on my own, pedalling along, stopping whenever I wanted to. And yeah, it worked. I managed to do it in 14 days, which I'm just amazed. But I noticed each day my legs got stronger, used to cycling, and yes, averaged on about, I think it was 70 miles a day I averaged, so some days I did 93 one day. I just kept pedalling, and it was so beautiful. The countryside, especially Scotland, was amazing. I went along the north coast first before I dropped down, because David Attenborough, I heard him say it was the most beautiful place he'd been to in the world. So I thought, right, I'm not going to just drop straight down the east coast. I'm going to go along the north coast and then come down. And yeah, he was very right. They're beautiful, beautiful bays and coastline.
And the Just Giving, is it still open? Can people still donate?
Yes, I'm closing it in the next couple of days because I've reached £10,000, which was the aim, but I've noticed I'm still having a few donations come through. So yes, I'm going to keep it open for another couple of days, and then it's going to shut. Yeah.
Amazing. Mary, thank you for your time. You are truly a legend of eventing and a legend here at Luhmülhen. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
If this lady isn't already a Luhmülhen legend, she will be soon. Julia, come on, I know they need you for the prize giving, but I'm going to grab you as we go. First and third, how are you feeling?
It was the strangest feeling to go early, become German champion, go again, have two down, still be German champion. But I'm over the moon with the two young ones. That Aero would become German champion 1 year and a couple of months after I took him as a really babyish baby from France. It's incredible, and I'm so happy for his owner, Professor Heike, who's been the best owner support I had for so many years. I'm also delighted for Nickel's owners who've been with me all weekend, and it's a bit of a fairy tale thing with these super good young horses.
The European Championships coming up this summer. You're going to have quite difficult decisions, aren't you?
well, they're not qualified yet, and I'm not going to for this Europeans because I thought it's too early for them. They're only 9. They just did their 2nd and 3rd 4-star, and I wanted to give them a bit time to grow and not go for the Europeans. So I have easy decisions because I'm not going.
Well, congratulations and best of luck with them in the future.
Thank you very much.
So, Spencer, she's not going to the Europeans or with those horses.
No, I mean, quite a surprise really, and I think a question on a lot of people's lips as well. Having come here with young horses, you'd think that was on her mind, that was the plan. But we know that there's a lot of different plans on a lot of people's minds and different things for different horses. Has she got something for the Europeans? Clearly not, and that's a real surprise. The other thing that is a surprise as well is her Olympic horse. We haven't seen since Tokyo. So there's lots of questions that are still unanswered, and I think that's the way of the world really at the moment, isn't it?
Well, she said, that it's not right for them. They're too young. They're not ready. As someone who's not a professional rider, I just think, well, they've just won one of them's just won a 4-star. They one came 3rd. How can they not be ready for another 4-star? But as you say, it's a championship.
Yeah, it is a championship track, and it's a totally different ball game, and we don't know. I mean, I know that those 2 horses, they're both 9, but we can have mature 9-year-olds and we can have very immature 9-year-olds, and I think these 2 have been stepped up. So if they're at the beginning of their 4-star career, to ask them to do a championship, we're in June, let's remember, and we're getting to the end of June, you know. And if they're at the beginning stages of their 4-star career, doing a championship is quite a big ask. And you certainly don't want to knock 2 very good horses, and they're 2 very talented horses. You don't want to knock their confidence. She's got, I mean, they may be Paris material. We don't know, A long way to go.
She's such good news, though, isn't she, Yulia Krajewski?
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking we've actually got 2 very beautiful, glamorous girls winning here. Yeah. We've got Laura Collett, who obviously always looks great, and Yulia as well. Just such good news for eventing.
Yeah, it really is, and it's the news we want. I would love to have had the boys on top, and I'd love to have seen Harry there in the mix between, those 3 young girls, and they are still very young in their careers, even though, a couple of them are in their 30s now. Still quite young, isn't it, for us? But yeah, it is brilliant, and they are, as you say, they're the glamour models of the eventing world, and when we see them go down that trot up in all of their fancy regalia, it is literally the trot up and the catwalk of the equestrian world. It's brilliant to see, and they're great ambassadors as well for the sport. They love it, they're passionate, and they always bring their A game, and as well as being gracious winners, they're also very, very gracious losers.
We're just getting to the end now. They're packing up. The show jumps are being put onto the trailers. No doubt there'll be tractors whizzing past us any second now.
Probably won't be now that it's over.
Well, at least there won't be water bowsers now. But sum up this year's Luhmühlen.
Oh, it's been a roller coaster, hasn't it? From start to finish. We've had some brilliant performances in the dressage. We've seen dancing horses at their very best. We've seen the cream rise to the top. We've seen some shocks. We saw, who would ever have put money on seeing Ingrid Klimke on the floor? Not me. And that was really big news. And I hope she mends quickly, because the news is that she's, fractured her clavicle. She's broken her collarbone. So we hope that she's back on board very quickly. The dressage was beautiful. I mean, to see the likes of Charlie van der Heijden and London 52, both from the British camp, and the training clearly is working. Whatever they're doing, it is definitely working. But to see those horses, they look like they could be dressage horses, and the fact that they can also then gallop and jump is true testament. And then the cross-country course, Mike Etherington-Smith is nothing short of a genius. He is absolutely brilliant. And what we saw was a very horse-friendly cross-country course. Yes, it's got to frighten the riders. Yes, it's got to make them sit up and think, and they've got to think right from the get-go, from the minute they leave that start box to that last fence. And he did that. He answered all the questions, and I think he should be very, very proud of what he did. The show jumping again today proved its part, and that is what the show jumping is designed to do. Marco Behrens, the course designer, he's brilliant at his job. Level 3 German course designer. It was tough out there. They were poles falling. There were 2 very influential fences in the 5-star and in the 4-star. and the time was incredibly tight. So that again runs the risk of them going quickly, and then that element of them going flatter and faster as they go on. But it's just been brilliant. The weather has been fantastic. It's been like being on holiday, hasn't it? It really has. Who wants to go to the Costa del Sol when you can come to the Costa del Luhmülhen?
If only there was some sea nearby.
Yeah.
Thank you, Spencer. You've been amazing. And it's been a really great week. So thank you for watching Luhmülhen Lates. If you've been enjoying this programme, then spread it on your socials, share it to your friends, tell them how much you've enjoyed it. We've definitely enjoyed it. And it's been great to speak to so many interesting and talented people throughout the week. Thank you to the hard-working crew,
Yeah,
bless them, who've done a whole day's work and then come and worked here at Luhmülhen. So thanks to them. But from all of us here at Luhmülhen Lates, we will see you hopefully in 2024. Goodbye.
Character traits, I don't know.
She's been on phenomenal form all year.
Boy, she's brought her dog.